Hey, this is Anthony from Speedwork Social, and one of the hottest topics in digital advertising in the last few months has been around iOS 14 and the changes of how that will impact advertising platforms such as LinkedIn ads. So there's been a lot published by Facebook on what's going on there. There has been less talked about on LinkedIn ads, so I'm going to walk through today the changes on LinkedIn ads and some things that you can do to prepare your ad account for it and some changes you should make in your conversion tracking. So that's what we'll talk about here today. Before I dive in, the first thing to mention is that it's been a few months at this point and digital advertising has not died. So don't worry, this isn't the end of the world in the digital marketing space and digital advertising space. Online advertising will definitely continue to be a huge force in marketing overall. There'll be some changes in how you want to do your tracking and some things that we'll talk about here today. So the first thing is, out of all the ad platforms out there, LinkedIn's going to be the least affected. And the reason for that is other platforms such as Google and Facebook do a lot of inferring of who you are based on your actions off the platform. Now, of course, all platforms are going to be affected because the limitation in the tracking will reduce retargeting audience sizes on who we can track and put into that audience, and then also in conversion tracking, of course, because if some tracking off platform is being limited, certain conversions may not be seen. So there's some really advanced modeling that's going on and some interesting stuff that's coming out, but a lot of how Facebook and Google work is by understanding somebody based on their actions off the platform. What websites do you go to? What news do you read? What are you buying off of what sites? Facebook and Google do a lot of that tracking, and that lets their AI algorithm build up an understanding of you so that they can match up their interest targeting and their affinity targeting with who they think you are. The flip side is LinkedIn. A lot of LinkedIn's targeting and a lot of how people use LinkedIn is based off the professional targeting options that we have on LinkedIn. So it's usually based on job titles, functions, what kind of companies that people work at, what type of industry they're in, what kind of company size. And all that data is not changing because that's all self-input into the LinkedIn platform. People are still setting their job titles, still tagging the companies they work at. If they're creating a company page, they're the ones setting the industry that company works in, setting the company size, and LinkedIn also knows how many employees are on LinkedIn at that company. They're setting skills and all those various things. So that data isn't going away. So LinkedIn's going to be the least affected because their targeting is not changing. Whereas Facebook, a lot of that's interest-based, and a lot of those interests are based on what do you do off-platform, what sites are you going to, and stuff like that. So the first thing is LinkedIn's going to be the least affected, but now if you are using LinkedIn, what should you be doing? And the first thing is updating your LinkedIn Insight tag. So what you can do is in your ad account, if you go into Account Assets, Insight tag, then on the right, click on Manage Insight Tag, Settings button, and then you want to make sure that this checkbox is checked for first-party cookies and click IDs. This will help LinkedIn associate who's clicking on an ad to who they are as a user once they get off the platform to a website experience, and helps them associate that data. So if you've been in LinkedIn ads, they've had a pop-up that's telling you to do this. Make sure you follow those instructions and check this checkbox. Second thing is around conversion tracking. So if you use the event-specific pixel, specifically, this is what you'll want to change. So previously, you can grab this piece of code, and it does still work to an extent, but it is going to be limited due to iOS 14. So if you've been using the event-specific pixel and this little image tag as far as your conversion tracking, maybe you're executing this on a page load or on an event, maybe you're using that for event-specific pixels, you'll want to switch that to using the Insight tag in terms of conversion tracking. So again, going back to the previous step, you want to make sure your Insight tag is on your website across all pages, and then in your conversion tracking, come in here and select the Insight tag option for conversion tracking. This event-specific pixel, this will still work, but it'll be limited. So if you are using this, you'll want to switch, and you've probably seen this warning message down here. This discusses further about how the event-specific image pixel is going to be reduced. So switching that, just selecting this Insight Tag Recommended button over here is the one you're going to want to select, and whether you're going to track conversions based on a page load. This actually makes it easier because if the Insight Tag is across your whole website, you can just say, hey, anyone that gets to the thank you page, that means they've opted in or they purchased on the previous page, and that I want to count that as a conversion. If you do want to do event-based targeting, note that this code is a little bit different. Previously, it was an image tag that you would put inside the code. Now it's a piece of JavaScript that you want to add into your website setup. So this is how you want to update your conversion tracking. A couple other strategies is, noting that the limitation of iOS 14 is around limiting tracking off the platform. So when people go to websites or when they click off the platform to go to another website, that tracking is going to be limited. Therefore, think about how you can change up your strategy to keep people on the LinkedIn platform and rely on the on-platform options more. So reduce your reliance on website retargeting. So maybe you could instead use video retargeting. What a lot of people don't know is that you can actually retarget people that have been to your company page. So, depending on what your strategy is, maybe you could substitute your company page for a lot of the website retargeting that you were doing. Maybe your ads and other media push people to your LinkedIn company page versus your website if LinkedIn is, the most important part of your strategy. Other things is keeping people on the LinkedIn platform more. Use the LinkedIn lead generation forms versus sending people off a website to opt in. Number one, lead gen forms have a much higher conversion rate. They will autofill with information, and you're not losing that conversion tracking by going off the platform. So some ideas for things that you can test and things to be aware of. It's been a few months now. We have not seen a huge impact in our campaigns. If you're very heavily using website retargeting, maybe you have, but overall, LinkedIn has not seen a huge impact because it's all user input information and that data is not changing. So again, my name is Anthony from Speedworks Social. If you need any help with your LinkedIn ads campaigns, you can find us at speedworkssocial.com. If you want to schedule a call to talk further about your campaigns, you can grab a call with us here. We also have a lot of blogs and more information about LinkedIn ads best practices. So thanks for watching.